The thing is, I'd like for you to be my boyfriend.
Would you die for me?
She was my very first girlfriend, and she just killed me. And she killed Hasia. She lied to me. She accused me. And in the end, I truly hated that bitch.
Ever had a crush so bad it kills you? No, like, literally kills you. Well, that's Issei Hyoudou. One minute he's a normal man with dreams of obtaining an actual girlfriend, the next his dream girl inflicts 28 stab wounds on him and leaves him bleeding in a pool of his own regret and lust. But, you may ask, how did we get here? Good question. And what is that girl's name? Also a good question. She is called Raynare. The fallen angel who didn't just kill Issei, she just obliterated his trust, his confidence, and his ability to believe women could ever actually like him. Which, for a ham anime, is actually pretty rare to see. A villain leaving a lasting effect mentally on the main character. And no, damn it, not you. You do not exist in my eyes. Back to the Shadow Realm with you. And what's wild is that this one moment, this single act of betrayal, and this does not get resolved until the final season. Kind of a spoiler, but DxD is old, so if you haven't watched it by now, then you're kind of uncultured anyway. So yeah, well, most people remember Raynare as the hot goth chick from season 1. She is actually one of the most important characters in the entire show. This is the story of how Raynare broke Issei and made him believe women around him just took him for his power. And it took a literal devil harem to make him see that Rias actually liked him, although she wasn't too subtle about it. So, who is Raynare? At first he's introduced as Yuma Amano, a cute, soft-spoken girl who asked Issei on his first date ever. And if you've ever watched anime before, you know this means one of two things. A, she's best girl material, or B, someone's about to not have a good time. Spoiler, it is B. After their date, heavy quotation marks on that, she hits him with a rather interesting question for the first date. Would you die for me? And then she actually makes sure he does. I mean, I'll give her credit, she does not waste any of that minimal screen time making you hate her. Now, one could argue Yuma and Raynare are different personalities, and personally, I call bullshit. That is the entire Griffith and Femto two different people argument, which is just not true. Raynare played the wolf in sheep's clothing, same person with the intent on playing with people's emotions to cause harm. And it turns out she's not the shy classmate, in fact she's a fallen angel, who lured Issei in trying to take out Issei before he learned how to use his sacred gear. Because it would absolutely high diff most fallen angels we see on screen. It did steal the principle of domination from God after all. Now that's already pretty cold, but it's what this moment represents that hits the hardest for the series. Because for Issei this wasn't just a betrayal, it was the confirmation that love, affection and anything pure just wasn't real to him at least. No one would look at him as a partner from this point on, just a tool and a very powerful pawn. And from that moment on, he carries that wound everywhere, throughout every season, until finally, later, something happens. Now after this betrayal, Rias Grammary saves him and turns him into a devil. You know, rebirth, magic, harem anime type shit. And now, it being referenced takes a bit of a backseat after Raynare gets fucking punched. There is little hints though if you watch the series with that in mind. Issei comes back, but he's not really whole. Now thinking everyone just wants him for his power instead of any actual romance. Now, the writing isn't this deep, but if they were written a little more in depth, Zenobia constantly saying how she wants to procreate just for the Red Dragon inheritance would really not help this fact and paint her as a bit of a different person. Zenobia was one dark genre tag away from being DxD's Anissa from Invincible, but as said, it doesn't go that deep. When the girl you first ever open up to ends your life with a smile, knowing she pledged you like a fool based on your feelings for her, I imagine it would hurt a little. From that point on, Issei's entire personality becomes a coping mechanism. The pervy jokes, the obsession with fan service, he never really focuses on romance past this point. If everything is about lust, then he doesn't really have to face love again, because the love got him killed once and that won't happen again. Unless Fenrir really loved Issei. You kind of see it in the way he acts around Rias. Always hesitant, always calling her president instead of Rias, aside from special occasions such as Razor's wedding. Because the moment he lets his guard down, the moment he calls her by her name, he risks being hurt again, which gets explored a bit more in Season 4. Raynare taught him that closeness equals hardship and pain, and that lesson defines him for the ongoing seasons, which is subtle in its methods of conveying that. Zenobia was honestly so close to not being a good person if this writing was a bit more explored, and how she just wants him for his power, but she's chill. I might make a video on that point. Now, as stated, the writing isn't hyper deep or anything, but we're going to talk about it like it is, because I find that fun. Raynare asked him to be his girlfriend, knowing how desperate he was. Used this to get him the falseness of security, then proceeded to rock his entire psyche, kill one of his friends, and make him believe from this point on he was just a sidekick to all these women. Out of every villain or even ally, Raynare left the biggest impression out of every character we see, aside from Rias and later on Akin, when he sort of starts the healing process. It's not even really arguable how much of an effect she had if you rewatch DxD. If you keep in mind the concept that Issei believes he's merely a sidekick, nothing more, his obliviousness makes a little more sense in some parts. In my eyes, Raynare is like the closest to a true fallen angel DxD has. Heaven fell, God is dead, fallen angels descended down both onto Earth and the demon realm to try and fight for their place. You know, instead of just coexisting, because that's simply not what fallen angels do. Aside from Azazel, he found it much more beneficial for himself just to work together. She represents a sense of corrupted love, affection twisted into manipulation, a literal fallen angel who uses innocence to bait people into a false sense of security. The other angels we see don't really do this. Kokubeel is just evil for the sake of being evil. Most of them are literally just, "Hello, I have come with the intent of killing you, my lady," tips Fedora. In a show filled with angels, demons, and great swords, she's the reminder that love can feel you as easy as anything else. For Issei, she is the personification of a false affection, the ultimate lie wrapped in a pretty little face. You know, a fallen angel. And that idea haunts him. Every time he doubts someone's feelings, every time he assumes he's just a pervy sidekick. That's Raynare whispering, "Would you die for me?" And that immediately stops any sort of actual romantical bond forming. As said, we see this with his actions towards Rias in a lot of scenes. Speaking of Rias though, Rias is like the anti-Raynare. She is everything that Raynare wasn't. Honest, supportive, patient. It's why she's the best waifu in DxD. But even with Rias, Issei still doesn't really break free from this mental block. It takes a full 4 seasons for him to finally get over Raynare's shadow. And when he finally calls Rias by her name, that tiny, beautiful moment means everything. It just took that goddamn clubroom scene that made Issei look like an ass. But once again, it stemmed from Raynare, so you can kind of give him some wiggle room, I suppose. This is a big character development part. For fans and Issei alike, this is him actually accepting Rias' love, finally after 4 seasons, believing that Rias actually likes him for him and not just the Red Dragon. Which she didn't really hide from season 2 onward, but again, Raynare. And honestly, that's more emotional depth than people give DxD credit for. A lot of harem animes don't even try to even do somewhat similar things. They mainly just focus on fan service and how many women the main character can ignore. Behind the ecchi comedy, cool dragon armor, there is a story about trauma and trust, which is wild from a harem anime. And it all started because the fallen angel asked him one cruel question: "Would you die for me?" Now, by this point Raynare's long gone, but her legacy lingered throughout the entire series. She's the reason Issei jokes instead of opening up, and the reason lust became his main sense of language. Because dumb jokes are safer than vulnerability. Every dumb, horny line Issei drops, the reason he goons is just because he believes that, you know, that's the safe option. Why go for love when it can hurt you again, when you can just go for the fun option? And then he finally opens up to Rias, and that's when he lets himself love again. It's a really subtle but cool arc when you think about it. Raynare broke the boy, but Rias helped rebuild the man. So yeah, DxD might be known for its pretty obvious fan service, but under all that chaos lies a surprisingly emotional arc over the entire course of the anime. Raynare had one of the biggest impacts on the anime from the small bit of screen time she got. She killed him once, but she's also the reason he learned what love actually means. So, you know, if a girl you barely know asks you on a date, probably just say you're busy that day, to be honest. Just say no, I think. Anyways, if you don't want to be asked, would you die for me? You should like share this, hit that sub button, like all that YouTube stuff. And bye, or your wife who's made.